Gold Experience Requiem is widely considered one of the most powerful stands in the history of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The reason for this is his wide variety of utility abilities, along with his core ability to reset any actions and willpower to 0. While this may seem powerful, we've seen other characters with stand abilities that have the potential to work their way around Return to Zero, or even outright bypass it. Gold Experience is a short-range power-type stand with the ability of turning inorganic objects into life forms, including bullets into trees, cars into frogs, and blood into ants. These life forms have an additional ability to reflect any damage dealt towards them, for example crushing Lucas' head with a shovel or affecting Echo's Act 3. Gold Experience is also proficient at healing other people by turning surrounding objects into body parts, and even reviving some people. He also has little side abilities that he uses throughout the series, for example cloning Coco Jumbo, his life shot ability, aging things, and his life sensor. Gold Experience Requiem can also do the same things Gold Experience can, only boosted. For example, when he flicked a rock and it turned into 4 scorpions instead of 1. Not to mention the fact that it went through someone's hand and destroyed a building behind him. Gold Experience Requiem also has his iconic Return to Zero ability, which allows him to reset all actions and willpower to 0. This ability effectively makes him untouchable and is the reason why he's considered to be one of the most powerful stands in the series. This ability is also automatic, which means catching him off guard is out of the question. Gold Experience Requiem can also seemingly ignore fate. For example, when Diavolo's prediction showed him winning, only for Requiem to ignore that and beat him anyways. Lastly, he also has the ability to lock someone in an infinite death loop. This is less of an ability that can help him in combat and more of a punishment to whoever he beats. Giorno Giovanna as a character is very intelligent, creative, and cunning. He's able to learn new abilities on the fly, similar to Jotaro and his Star Platinum. He's also managed to trick other characters into thinking they've won, only to turn the table on them. Giorno Giovanna also seemingly does a lot of biology homework, judging by how much he knows about biology. Additionally, Giorno Giovanna seems to also have an incredibly high pain tolerance. He survived having limbs cut off, being mutilated by Babyface, and continuing to fight despite having multiple broken bones and punctured organs. Despite being all-powerful, Gold Experience Requiem obviously has its weaknesses. His first weakness is that his ability affects people and willpower, not random objects. This could leave him vulnerable to things that aren't considered attacks, like accidents and calamities. He could also be weak to abilities that do not cause harm at all, for example, passives. There's also the case to be made about cheese abilities that can just bypass anything in general. Gold Experience Requiem is also a reactionary stand, meaning the opponent usually makes the first move. This only makes him more vulnerable to cheese abilities. Before talking about the people that could probably defeat Gold Experience Requiem, I'd like to mention a few honourable mentions. My first one would be gambling stands that could affect people directly. For example, Osiris, Atum, or even Boy to Man. Whether or not their abilities can actually affect Giorno is one question, but I believe they have a chance if they could. I'd also like to bring up stands like Anubis, Enigma, Atom Heartfather, and Jailhouse Lock. As their abilities don't directly harm Giorno Giovanna, they only incapacitate him, or trap him somewhere. I doubt they could outright defeat him, but they also have some potential. Lastly, I'd like to mention Death 13, who can attack Giorno without a stand active, Bites the Dust, which is a defense passive, Chariot Requiem, which can trap Giorno in this, Cheap Trick being Giorno Giovanna's own ability attacking him, Sea Moon making accidents more common, and Made in Heaven for that same reason. While these stands can't directly win in a fight, I believe that they can find some victory somewhere. My first stand is D4C Love Train. Firstly, D4C's Dimension Hop ability will allow Funny Valentine to bring multiple Giornos into one place and cause a paradox. There's also Love Train that acts as its own defense passive against Giorno Giovanna's direct attacks. Giorno Giovanna obviously has the potential to defeat Funny Valentine, but he can also lose to him too. Next, we have Tusk Act 4. The Infinite Rotation is a persistent ability, and so I believe it will remain after Return to Zero has taken effect. Whether or not Johnny Joestar will have the opportunity to use Tusk Act 4 is another thing. However, if he actually manages to pull it off, then yeah, he'd win. Next is Wonder of You. One of the biggest flaws of Gold Experience Requiem's ability is attacks without a user. Wonder of You is a passive stand that doesn't rely on the input of its user to attack people. It also doesn't throw attacks with his fist or his cane. Instead, his Calamity ability attacks people for him. Therefore, Giorno Giovanna would have no will or action to revert in the first place. Even if he could revert it, it just leaves the two at a stalemate, and therefore I believe Wonder Review would win that fight. And lastly, the character I believe that could 100% defeat Gold Experience Requiem is Soft and Wet Go Beyond. Go Beyond itself has similar potential to Tusk Act 4 without the tedious activation process, and while the effects of its ability aren't as permanent as Tusk Act 4, it definitely has its potential to deal a lot of damage. The reason why Go Beyond bypasses Return to Zero is the fact that it ignores logic and reason. Even though Josuke's actions and willpower will be reverted, the effects of Go Beyond will not, and that's why he would 100% defeat Gold Experience Requiem in a fight.